What's going on, Mom? It's me. This is a demonstration of your lower body workout. I didn't tell you the other day, but you and I are actually on the same split. So of course you have upper body, lower body, cardio and core day, and then upper body, lower body, cardio and core day, and then your 7th day off is your Sabbath to take a rest. So what I'm gonna do is walk you through what I would do if I had your equipment. I know that you've got the exercise bands that I got you. We talked about different ways of having resistance that you already have in the house. You have the water jugs, you've got suitcases. Another idea I didn't mention the other day, mop buckets. You can take a mop bucket and place things inside of the bucket to create more resistance, add more things to the bucket, obviously, to make it heavier or lighter. Things like books, things that are in the kitchen, so on and so forth. And then you have that block, the block that you that you're gonna borrow from that Airbnb place. So that's gonna come in helpful today as well. The other thing that I plan on using is I have 2 books that I'm gonna use, and I have them wrapped in a shirt. I'm gonna use that to create a little bit of a platform for my foot. So lower body, we've got quadriceps. We're gonna do upper hamstrings. I was telling you last week that we want to separate upper hamstring and lower hamstring because it goes across 2 different joints. We have outer glutes and we have calves. So it's 4 major muscle groups. We're going to break those into 2 supersets. So we're going to do our quads and our hamstrings / glutes together, and then we're going to do our outer glute / calves together as a superset. We're doing those as what they call antagonistic supersets. So we're working basically opposing muscle groups. So while one muscle group is working, the other one is getting an opportunity to take a break. And by the time we're done with one, the other one is ready to go ahead and get back to work. It just saves time. And you know I'm not about trying to work out any longer than an hour, ideally a little bit less than that. So with that being said, for the quads, we're gonna do the Bulgarian split squat that I walked you through last week. Superset that with the single leg Romanian deadlift. With both of those, you could either do them with just your body weight or with some degree of resistance. What I'm gonna use is this suitcase. It has about 20 books in it. I weighed it a few minutes ago and it's exactly 25 pounds, just the way that it worked out. So that'll be our first superset. What we're gonna do is 5 sets of each exercise. The first 4 sets will be that ultra slow tempo that we talked through, those eccentric sets, where I'm gonna spend about 5 to 6 seconds lowering the weight and then coming back up. The 5th and final set for each one is gonna be at a normal tempo. We're going for muscular endurance at that point to really just finally fatigue the muscle. So those will be our quadricep exercise and then our hamstring / glute maximus exercise. Then we'll move on to our second superset, which is gonna be a banded lateral walk. We're gonna use some of those resistance bands that you have in that bag, that black bag, and we'll superset that with standing calf raises. And again, for that one, it's cool that you have that wooden block already in the house. I'm gonna use those cork blocks that I was telling you about just because I have them here, but if I were in your shoes, I would either use that wooden block or one tall book or thick book and just wrap that book in a shirt so that you don't damage the hardcover. All right, so that being said, we will start off with the split squat, the Bulgarian split squat. So I'm just laying this down because you know I like my chaise. But after this point, I'm just gonna sit down at the edge of the chaise where I would normally be seated, put my foot out. This is a cool little cheat code, and then stand up from there. And that basically should give us a pretty good distance for how far you want that leading foot to be from the sofa or whatever you're putting your trailing leg on. So at that point, oh, another trick that I like to do is when I'm looking down, I'm visualizing that my knee could tuck in right behind, my trailing knee could tuck in right behind my leading knee. So, and I'm even gonna move it over so I can see that's where it's at. That's just a trick that I do because I know that's the spacing that I want when I'm setting up for Bulgarian split squat. It's totally gonna be up to you as far as how it feels. But ideally, we want to have our upper body remain upright throughout this entire range of motion. I'm gonna come down for let's do a 6-second negative. By the time I hit number 6, my knee just grazed the ground and I come right back up. So I'm talking through all this right now, obviously for your benefit, but in a little while, I'm just gonna go right into how I would normally do this, which is in silence. So once I've done a complete superset, know that I'm not really gonna give any more tips and tricks. So at that point, you're free to just fast forward and skip into the next exercise once you feel like you got this down pat. But I legitimately am doing a full workout right now using the split that I've given you and the exercises that I just talked you through. And I did forget to mention the total reps that I'm going for. We're aiming for at least 6. So at least 6 repetitions with this 6-second negative. And I've lost count of what I was on, that's what I get. But it's about feel anyway. I'm gonna imagine that this is 6. And when I come back up, I'm trying not to spend a whole lot of time with my muscle fully flexed. As cool as it feels, you really want to just go right back into the movement and emphasize what we call that time under tension, the amount of time that that muscle actually spends working. I think I might have 3 more in me on this leg. Actually, that was it. I'm good. All right, so I'm gonna switch. All right. This time I will keep count. Less talking, more doing. 6 seconds up. I know I'm making these look hard. These are legitimately challenging with just body weight. And remember, if you feel unsteady while you're doing these, you can use a stool or a chair to balance yourself with. Just remember not to put too much weight on whatever that item is. We still want the work to be done by the leading leg. Whew. Oh, okay. Yeah, I felt that one. Now we're gonna immediately go into that single leg Romanian deadlift I told you about the other day. So just to demonstrate, I'm imagining that there's a plane of glass right here. So my upper body and my head are generally gonna remain near this plane of glass. And what I'm doing is pushing my hips away from this invisible plane of glass. Just pushing it back as if I could feel like my glutes could touch the wall behind me. And once you reach that point where you're no longer able to keep on extending back, that's pretty much it. Now I could lower my upper body beyond that, and that will give you a deeper stretch in your upper hamstrings. But really, once you're here and you're no longer able to push those hips back, we can come right back up. But what I'm doing is I'm gripping the ground with my feet and squeezing my hamstrings and squeezing those glutes to come right back up. And this is without weight. Now I'm going to add resistance after I demonstrate it one more time. So I'm pushing back. And one last trip before I even got started, and I apologize for not saying this first, keeping that core engaged. We're not sucking it in. I'm actually shooting it out as if someone's about to tickle me and I don't want them to tickle me, or I don't want them to know that I'm as ticklish as I am. So hold it nice and tight, out, and then back up. So now let me do it at real speed, single leg with resistance. And by real speed, I mean these are going to be a 8-second negative. So here we go, Mississippi. 1, 2, also doing is squeezing my quadricep just a little bit, because it feels like it gives me just a little bit more stretch, the ability to stretch more in my upper hamstring and glute as I get back there. And the other thing to keep in mind is I've got barely any weight at all on that trailing foot. It's really just there for balance. You could do these with one foot up in the air if you wanted to. I don't. All right, that feels good. Okay, switch legs, just up for balance. In fact, let me do it on this side so you can see. Up. I'm gonna go ahead and use the books I was telling you about a minute ago. Just wrap them up in an old shirt so I don't destroy the books unintentionally. But that's gonna give me about 5 inches of clearance. What that allows me to do is get a deeper stretch in the quadricep. So when you get to the point where you really wanna feel like you're engaging a more full range of motion and build some more muscle in your quads, this is a good way to do it by creating this deficit underneath your foot. I'm doing these for an 8-second negative. Whew. What I'm gonna do is called a rest pause. I'm resting for about 10 seconds here, and then I'm gonna jump right back into it to really make sure I got the most out of that set. On my right leg. Yep, there is more to give. All right. Whew. I felt that one. All right. Immediately going into the single leg RDLs, single leg Romanian deadlift. That's it for now. Oh boy, oh boy. Set number 3. Now, another thing, I know I said I was going to save the tips and tricks for the beginnings and ends, but in case you're still watching right now, I'm doing these at your break tempo, i.e. a woman's break tempo. I was telling you last month that women need shorter rest periods between sets than men do. The scientists don't know the why, they just know the what. So where you guys need 2 minutes of rest or a little bit less between sets, men need to be on the higher end, closer to 3 minutes between these working sets when we're doing hypertrophy training. So I'm working a little bit harder by working at a woman's pace today. Once people realize that that's a good thing, we're all just a little bit different. Oh, yo, yo. Wow. All right. Oh. Whew. All right, Mom. Keeping these going for you. Oh, rest pause because I know I can do more than that. 5, 6 second break, 7, 8 seconds of break, 9, 10, get back to it. See how many more I can do. All right, let's get to it. Whew. It would help if I turn on a fan or the AC or open up a window, but I don't want too much ambient noise. Since I'm just using the microphone on the camera. Okay. Whew. Whew. All right. Whew. So this is number 4. This is our last of our slow sets, where we're emphasizing the eccentric phase. Whew. Whew. Whoa. Whew. Oh, all right. So that was our last slow set. That was number 4. So now we head to our 4th single leg RDL set, our 4th and final one at a slow pace. Phew. Phew. Whew. Oh, I'm tapping out on that one because I can feel my form slipping a bit. And I was feeling a little bit more stress in my lower spine than I was a stretch in my hamstrings. So that's why I'm tapping out on that one. So now we're up to our fifth and final set, final phase of the superset. We're doing this one at a traditional tempo. So just a controlled eccentric and explosive concentric. So not super slow going down, maybe a 1, 2 up, 1, 2 up, that kind of tempo. But not doing them slow, just doing them again for the ability to really tax this muscle and get the muscular endurance. Just a traditional kind of speed or tempo. With these, at least 6 is good, but if you can get closer to 15, that's great. And if you can do more than 25, you went too light. Whoo, yo. All right. All right, mom, let's finish strong. Whew. Take a quick breather, because I think that was only 5. I'm trying to get at least 6. 9, 10-second break for the rest pause. Let me finish strong. Woo! Yeah, that was it. All right. 5th and final set of a single leg Romanian deadlift. Normal tempo. Whew, aiming for at least 6, ideally 15, but no more than 20. I'm not doing 25. Here we go. Yeah. All right, Mom. That was it for our first of the 2 supersets. We just finished our quads, and we finished upper hamstring and glute maximus to a degree. Now I'm going to switch over to the second pairing, the second superset, which is calves plus our outer glutes. It's called our glute medius and glute minimus. This is the outer round part. If you were looking at the glutes front on like a clock, it would be that part that's at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. All right. I felt that one, Mom. All right, so I know you've got the wooden block. I have these cork blocks here to do the calf raise. So what it does is it forces you to start off with the muscle, our gastrocnemius and our soleus, the calf muscles, really stretched out, and then you have to pull up or push from that stretched position, and that's so you can get a lot of growth. And that goes for really any muscle. If you can get it to a stretch position, not to the point that it's compromised, but within its normal range of motion, but start off in that stretch position and be able to put a load on that. Boy, oh boy, you can just get so much more work done and get so much more growth in the exact same amount of time as doing a more conventional range of motion. So, doing these eccentric as well. So an 8-second negative, up for one. Whew. Gotta keep my balance. I've clearly never done these while holding a suitcase full of 20 books. What have I done with my life? Whew. All right. All right, let me rest, pause for a second, because I'm doing these in a kind of a weird position just to demonstrate for you. So some of my stabilizer muscles were kind of taxing out before my calves did. So. Okay, so that was number 1 of 5. And now, I know you've got one of these exercise bands in that black bag of yours. So let me show you, they do sell these, what they call glute bands. It's just a hoop's usually about this wide, and you just step into it, it's usually nice and thick. It goes right around your thighs. You want to put them just above your knee. But there's no point in you spending $30 on that when you've already got one of these. Later on, when you get more serious about bodybuilding, we'll get you one of those. But for this, we can just create one on our own using the heaviest of those resistance bands that you already have. So I just did a simple loop right around, kept my feet at about shoulder width, and that's it. So what I'm gonna do is gently squat into it. Let me show you from the side. It's a gentle squat. This is gonna recruit, the squat alone is gonna recruit the gluteus maximus, the large part of the butt, but we're doing lateral steps. So we're stepping from side to side, leading with that outer part of your thigh plus knee, pushing that towards the opposing wall, and bring the feet together. Now I'm doing it super slowly and putting my feet together for emphasis for you on what the actual range of motion is. But what we want to do, again, is really maximize the time under tension. So with that, we actually don't want to be in the spot where my feet are all the way together and I'm really relaxed. So what you do is you step out and then you start to bring that foot in, but don't bring it all the way. Keep that tension on it. Ho-ho! And then push it right back out. Push it right back out. Don't bring it to the full rest. At this point, I've got no tension on it. There's nothing. But if I stop right there and then explode back, maximum tension on the glute medius and minimus. So we're doing these, 8 in each direction. And I'm gonna pretend that was 8 in each direction, because between the demo and talking through it, I'm feeling that big big time. All right, so that was the first one. You may have noticed that I didn't really do those for an eccentric. You really can't. So in exchange for the 8-second negative that we've been doing for everything else, with those, we just maintain that tension the entire time and never give yourself a break. All right, so now we jump right back into those calf raises. And I know I didn't put this in your program last week because I just didn't think you need them at this point. But again, I'm just showing you what I would do if I had my body, but your equipment, that Airbnb that you guys are at. Gosh. Give myself 10 seconds to get my act together. 8, 9, 10. Gosh. My goodness. All right. I can go tighter than that. Go. Gosh. That was 8. Just taking a little rest pause here to see if I can squeeze out a couple more after a 10-second break, and here I go. Whew. Ah. Oh. Whew, whew, whew. Oh my goodness. All right. So I started my watch a little bit late, but I think I've been going for about a half an hour now, and we are already halfway through our final superset. So this should wind up being around a 40-minute workout overall. Like I was saying, an hour or less. And I know I'm making this look hard. I'm genuinely taxed right now. Whew. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. Okay. All right, Mom. I believe this is our fourth and final negative set. We're going nice and slow. So on these again, since we're not really gonna go slow, we're just gonna maintain that tension by not bringing my heels all the way together. Lower into the squat, about halfway in, then do it. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. I'm counting all out for myself at this point. 4, 4, 5, 6, 6. I'm gonna keep going till failure. 8. Oh, gosh. Oh. I'll count to 10 and do a little bit more. All right. Oh, and that was a little bit more. All right. The same goes for these standing calf raises on your wooden block. This is our fourth and final negative set. I'm gonna do these unweighted because I'm drained. Okay, all right, Mom. Fifth and final set of this entire thing. Normal tempo. So with these, it means that I do get to bring my feet together for a little mini break at the end of each repetition. There we go. So meaning I step out and then actually bring the feet all the way together. Just doing as many as possible. 6 in each direction is the bare minimum. 15 in each direction would be great. If you can do 25 or more, it means it was too light. Same thing over here. This is our final set of the entire thing. The final set of calf raises. So instead of doing these as negatives, we're just doing a traditional, conventional tempo. Down, up, down, controlled, up. Down. At least 6. 15 will be great. Whew. All right. Fellas, that's the end, man. So that was the lower body demo of things you should be able to do with your current setup. So next time, remember this one was focused on the upper hamstring. So if we're doing these twice a week, if you're doing your lower body twice a week, which you are on your current split, the next time you do hamstrings, we want to work on the lower part of the ham where we are flexing the knee, bringing some sort of resistance up. And we can do that with the resistance bands. And I'll show you how on the next one. So you should be all set. If you did this along with me, you're good to go.